What's going on YouTube? My name is Mr. Crippled, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 3 easiest supports to play in Smite 2. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to keep up with any future content, I will be leaving a link to my Twitch and my Discord in the description below. Now, caveat to this. Support is the hardest role in the game. Just make that clear. These gods, again, don't really go adhere to like a specific tier list or anything like that. This is just guys that will help you understand the role better and perform better. Um, and along with the mid video, if you haven't watched that yet, their builds are pretty much the same. The build that you see currently on the screen is the generic build that I will go, and I'll go over some other cards that you could be building on this character, or any of your other supports before I go into the other characters. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about number 3, Ymir. Now, Ymir is probably the best, is probably the easiest support to just pick up and start playing with because his cooldowns are pretty low. He has a really good CC button. His passive makes him hit harder while also making him a little bit tankier. He has this wall that is a threat wherever you put on the screen, and he has a massive slow. And he translates really well into other roles like jungle or solo. So if you actually really end up loving this god, he can play well into those other roles if you get stuck with those. So he can help people who like to be one tricks in this game. The reason why I have him at number 3 is twofold. One, it's the wall. I know we've all been subject to this, but a Ymir accidentally putting up a wall that blocks off your entire team from killing somebody, or it blocks your ult, or it blocks something that would have killed the person that you were all aiming for. And just the casting time on this ult. This does do a lot of damage, and it's not that hard to set up, but understanding how to set it up properly can take a little bit of time. And honestly, even though this cone is pretty large, against players who kind of know what they're doing and know how to dodge into you or knows how to like move around, hitting this freeze consistently can be a little bit annoying for newer players, but again, that's not that difficult. And knowing how to play defensively with this character, because he kind of doesn't do it for you. But overall, he's pretty easy and does a lot of damage. As you can see here, this is the generic cards that I would go: Stampede, Ruinous Ankh for the anti-heal, Spectral Armor, Glorious Freedwind. If you watch any of my other videos, you know I don't really believe in building 2 actives except on certain roles. This is going to be one of them. Because both of these you don't have to use in conjunction with each other. You just have to use them as needed. Stampede just gives your team a huge boost in movement speed by 60%, and it makes you immune to slows. So you can cleanse your entire team of slows or chase another person down. It just has a lot of utility behind it. And then Glorious Freedwind gives you a whopping 20 cooldowns. And it lets you do damage in an AoE around you based off of your protections, while also giving you a health shield equal to your protections. And then after a certain amount of time, when the shield is destroyed, you explode again, doing more damage. So it's a good damaging option. This card also slows, so it gives you an extra layer of CC. So overall, it's a really good card. Another card you can build instead of either one of those is Talisman of Purification. What this card does is basically it just gives your entire team beads at a specific point when you use it. So against gods like Ares, Geb, Hun bots, characters who have very huge AoE stuns or mezzes or any type of AoE CC, Talisman of Purification can help you cleanse that off your team, giving you another defensive option. This also does give you magical protections, health, and CC and cooldown rate. So overall, it's a very nice card to have. You can also go Stone of Binding on anybody who has CC, and all 3 of these top 3 gods I'm going to be talking about has some type of CC. What this card does is it shreds protections of anybody hit by your CC. So helps your entire team just do more damage overall. When you get more comfortable with the game, you can go cards like Lifebinder. I don't recommend building this card first when you're first starting to learn how to play support. Mostly because this does give power, it does give health, but it doesn't give you any protections. And it's I wouldn't necessarily call it a skill shot, but you need to be able to consistently hit this on people and hope the right person hits that target so they get the shield. Again, it's not super hard to use, but I just wouldn't recommend building it first. Prophetic Cloak as a first starter card for supports is pretty universal. You don't need to build this card per se, mostly because this card is a little bit difficult to stack, which is why you want to build it first as a support, because you have to damage somebody and of each damage type to be able to fully evolve this card, to be able to get the extra protections. So it could take a little bit of time for you to be really tanky out the gate. or for you to be really tanky. So if you just want to be tanky out the gate and don't really worry about the cooldowns, instead of Prophetic Cloak, you can go Gauntlet of Thieves instead. It gives you health, gives you protections whenever you gain an assist on a minion kill or a god kill, and stacks pretty quickly. You'll probably have this fully stacked before even the 15-minute mark of the game. So that's a really good item to have. Also, owning Hunter's Garb makes you tanky to everybody within a vicinity and gives you damage mitigation, so you can just run up on the enemy team a little bit easier. But what you build is kind of up to you and situational to the team. But universally speaking, I think Spectral Armor, Ruinous Ankh, and Stampede are probably staples for support. So at number 2, I want to talk about Aphrodite. Ironically speaking, I know I said I wasn't really going to make this pertain to any tier list, considering Aphrodite is probably one of the best gods in the game right now as a support, and is often seen bans. Doesn't make her any less easy per se. Really good heal, dumb damage, has an ult that can save herself and anybody she's attached to. Not a super long cooldown for an ult like this. You know, you're still going to be building some kind of CDR. And she has a stun, and that stun, when she's attached to somebody, makes that person do more damage. You also gain protections just for somebody being right next to you, so you're just naturally tanky as well.
Your middle tower is
the
under
only
attack.
reason why I have her at number 2 instead of number 1 is simply the kiss management. That's really all it is. Managing who you should be attached to at any given point. Because this, whenever you attach to somebody, is only on like a 2 or 3 second cooldown if you attach to an allied god. However, these cooldowns are fairly long. The heal itself is on a 12-second cooldown, and the stomp is on an 11-second cooldown. That's without CDR. With CDR, it's more like 7 and 9. But, you know, healing the right person at the right time, ulting the right person, making sure that you protect the right person, constantly switching your kiss on people, stunning when you need to. You know, all that can be a little bit difficult to manage, but because she's a mage and does a lot of damage, and she is pretty brain dead and you can just play just specifically off this ult alone, makes her fairly easy. And the only difference between this support and other supports is that you can actually argue going Chronos Pendant on her just to help her with her damage and to help her constantly recycle through her abilities, since she does get natural protection anyway. Plus, you know, building a little bit of damage on her with some protections is still kind of crazy because she does so much and heals. So I would say she's number 2 for sure. And finally, at number 1, I want to talk about Athena. I think Athena is the easiest support on paper because she has everything you need to function as a support, and the added benefit of having an ultimate that helps her learn rotations without actually rotating. If you don't know, supports, whenever they get their first card or whenever they hit level 5 is when they want to start rotating if they're comfortable enough, right? And rotating and supporting the team where you're needed is going to be very important to winning the game. And it's often that supports who are first learning the role will find themselves in a position where they can't get to the team in time to be able to help them if the team over engages or if the enemy team engages on them, and she's usually out of position. With Athena, you don't need to worry about that option. You can just ult to your teammate. And now they buff the ultimate to where that person gets damage mitigations and a health shield when you ult to them, making it even easier for you to rotate. And she doesn't have that issue from Smite 1, where if she ults and that person she's ulting dies, she doesn't go to that location, leaving the rest of your team screwed. No, she still goes to that location to potentially turn the fight around. And she has one of the most annoying forms of CC in the game, a taunt. She does have a dead-end charge. She does have a little bit of damage with her 3 and her 1. The only thing holding her back for real is her cooldowns are a little bit abysmal. That's really all it is. And like I said, this has nothing to do with the tier list. This is purely just who I think is the easiest characters to pick up. And Athena being able to rotate for you, I think, makes her the easiest support in the game. And she still has very strong CC. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all take care.